Do you want a cheap car that looks amazing but have a low budget? Then the BMW 5 Series E39 is perfect for you. And they can do literally anything. It doesn't matter if you want to go fast, cruise in comfort, carry people and cargo, or cut off everyone on the road. Because the E39 can do all of it, as they come with sedans and wagons, which are called touring, even for just a couple grand. When these cars came out in 1997, they demolished all of their competitors and even their following models, because they were so much better. For example, the Mercedes E-Class and the Audi A6. And they were just built until 2003. Also, the E39 M5 was the fastest sedan in the entire world for years to come. So the BMW engineers really did an incredible job on them. That's why they also have great build quality and are generally very reliable. So you will find a lot of them with way over 150,000 miles or about 240,000 kilometers. Yes, that also goes for the V8s. But more on that in a moment, as it's now time to talk about the engines and trims. And there are fucking loads of them, just like with any BMW pretty much. So, they start with the 520i, which is a 2 or 2.2 liter inline-six with 150 or 170 horsepower. Then comes the 523i with a 2.5 liter inline-six and 170 horsepower. And then there's the 525i, again with a 2.5 liter inline-six but 192 horsepower. I'm already sorry if this part is boring like a snail race, but I mean, yeah. After that comes the 528i, which is a 2.8 liter inline-six and 193 horsepower. So just one more than the 25i. But now's the point where they get more special. There's the 530i, which is a 3 liter inline-six putting out 231 horsepower. That's pretty decent already. Then comes the 535i, which is a 3.5 liter V8 with 135 or 245 horsepower. So some people say they feel underpowered. And for those, there's the 540i, which is a 4.4 liter V8 with 286 horsepower. So that thing is fast already. And finally, for the adrenaline junkies, the M5. A 4.8 liter V8 with 400 horsepower. And those are just crazy. These inline-sixes are super reliable and the V8's actually not much less if they are maintained properly. Apart from the M5, which can struggle a bit more. But also, a lot of these were absolutely abused by BMW crackheads, which is to be expected, but can be pretty annoying. So a quick question, which one would you pick personally? I myself would get a 530 or a 540. But to quickly get over the diesel engines too, there's just three, so it's not gonna take long. There's a 520D, which is a 2 liter turbocharged inline-4 putting out 136 horsepower. And then comes the 525D. That one is either a 2.5 or 3 liter turbocharged inline-6 with 116 to 163 horsepower. And then the highest diesel spec, the 530D, which is again a 3 liter inline-6 but with 184 or 193 horsepower. And those are really reliable and of course pretty decent on gas. But not only the engine options are nice, because the transmissions are too. The V8's got 6-speed manuals or 5-speed automatics, and the rest got either 5-speed manuals or automatics, and some early ones even 4-speed automatics. And because all of them are rear-wheel drive only, you can have a lot of fun with them. That's also why especially manuals were treated pretty hard sometimes, which is absolutely classic for BMW drivers. Or to be honest, I wanna be one of them. That might annoy other people, though it should be fun. But also driving these cars normally is just super nice, as the steering is very balanced and just great overall. And apart from that, the suspension manages to be super comfortable when driving normal, but is still very accurate and stable at speed and harder corners. So the E39 really handles great in general, and that's damn impressive for over 20-year-old cars. When actually taking a closer look at the styling of these cars, I personally can say that I just love them. I already made a video about the E38, so the 7 series of that time, and they look pretty similar. So they have a very similar and equally as beautiful side profile with just very straight body lines, as well as a longer hood, the classic BMW grille, and the front that somehow just looks incredible overall. I literally have no idea how to describe it, but it's like a mix of elegance and power, but also sophistication. In the year 2000, they also got a facelift, so the front and rear lights were updated. That includes the so-called angel eyes, and I really think they just look nice. All of the facelift cars also got the kidney grills from the M5, but as far as I know, they also changed some of the body panels, so facelift models should have less rust problems. It technically isn't that important if you get a facelift or not, but it's always nice. And maybe better for resale value. And while you experience all of the genuine perfection, you will feel great inside these cars, as they have super nice interiors that pass the test of time, as over 20 years later, they still feel high quality and just look good. You could also get things like full leather trims, electrically adjustable seats and file support, an M Sport steering wheel, satellite navigation, and other nice stuff like window blinds. Also, most of it is pretty high quality and holds together very well. And while the interior looks somewhat simple, I really like them because it just looks classy. So if you already love them too now, you need to hear about their common faults and reliability issues. But right away, there aren't too many, so you don't really need to be concerned. But an important problem these cars can have is the cooling system, as the water pump and thermostat are known to fail over the years. You can also have some hoses and lines leaking, as well as pixel faults on the LCD screens. Then also on the suspension, the bushings on the brush arms can be worn out and the window regulators can fail. Also the Venus seals, which aren't on every engine, can degrade after a while. And some of these cars also suffer from rust, but definitely not all of them. It can appear, for example, on the boot, the wheel arches, the lower door parts, behind the fuel cap and around the jacking points. And specifically on the touring, the tailgate can get pretty bad, so definitely look out for that. These cars can also have broken front cup holders, the spark plugs causing some trouble, and the valve cover gaskets failing. So it definitely isn't too bad, and you can do a lot of these things yourself. But you should always have some money ready for repairs when buying an older BMW or just old cars in general. And by the way, as a little tip, you can make these cars look a lot more modern by adding LED angel eyes to them, which you can get for like $50 on eBay. But because they are older, they lost a lot of their value in depreciation. So you can join the Beamer Rowdy gang for pretty cheap, as prices start at about 2k in the US, but if you want an example with under 100,000 miles, you can expect to pay about 6k or maybe a bit more. But over here in Germany and Central Europe, it's a bit different, as they start at about $600 basically, and a lot of them are still under 1k. So even cars with under 90,000 miles or 150,000 kilometers already go for like 3 or 4k, and sometimes even less, which is a pretty cool bonus of living around here. And by the way, if you somehow want an M5 to drive like an absolute maniac, they start at about 20k anywhere. And I'll not even mention the Alpina, as they are expensive as shit. So what do you think about the E39 5 Series? Do you personally like them? And would you like to maybe get one actually? Just comment down below, because it would be really nice to get your opinion on them too, because I freaking love them. They are on my personal list of first cars that I would actually buy in the near future, right there with the Audi A5. Link to that video in the top right corner. So as I mentioned, I would like to get a 530i as the 5-speed manual, because they are pretty reliable, quick and fine on gas. And if possible, I'd choose one in black or blue, because I just think they look the best that way. But a 540i would be pretty cool too, mainly because of the sound of course, but they are very rare as manuals and a little less reliable. So anyways, I hope you liked this video and enjoy the rest of your day, so I'll see you in the next one.